I was faced with a choice which I never should have had.
She was crying like I had never heard a woman cry before in my life.
And I just cried for weeks and weeks. Everything reminded me of a baby.
And I kept trying to get up from the table and look to see what was in that jar.
I was dealing with the loss of my unborn child and I didn't even know it.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts women.
Whisper, be silent no more.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Cindy Collins, and I'm with my co-host, Alan Parker, President of the Justice Foundation, and Clayton Trotter, General Counsel of the Justice Foundation. It's going to be a great show today, Alan.
It is. It's incredibly powerful and dramatic. You're going to hear from Stacy and Cheryl, who've experienced firsthand the devastation of abortion, and they're going to tell you things that you've never heard before.
That's right, Alan. I know that Stacy has a powerful testimony that she's going to be sharing with us. And now we want to go ahead and hear Stacy's story in her own words.
Hi, my name is Stacy Fields and I'm from Dallas, Texas. I was born into sin in 1966. My mother and father were from very alcoholic families. Therefore, my sister and I grew up with the same alcoholism. We were very empty growing up as children. The alcoholism excelled. My first joint was when I was 14 years old. I lost my virginity when I was 15 years old. When I graduated high school in 1985, I looked back and I had nothing to show for it. I was just as empty when I was 18 years old as I was being born into sin in 1966. I proceeded to make bad choices. I chose a boyfriend that was younger than me, and he was very physically abusive. Our relationship lasted 4 years. Within that second year, I became pregnant. That pregnancy was talked about between my boyfriend and I, and we discussed abortion and both agreed on it. The money was not hard to come up with. The transportation was reliable, and the clinic or facility was in downtown Dallas. I remember going up the sidewalk to the facility and seeing how pretty it was and how nice it was to approach it and to go inside, and it was just like a reception area. Everything was alive. I was in the waiting area and everything was normal. It didn't seem like I was going in to make a death choice. And I wasn't scared. I had no thoughts of what I was going to do. I proceeded forth after the paperwork and discussing some options of life or death and went into the procedure room. I laid back on that cold table and the room was freezing. And the doctor and the nurse were talking. I was there, but I wasn't there. And I heard my baby hit the bucket and the flesh. I was there with that flesh. I never rose from that table. This is my testimony to those who are choosing abortion. I'm raising up from this table, and I want to go forth in life. My baby is in heaven, and I believe that Jesus has forgiven me. So anyway, I left the procedure. We drove home. I rested. My life was so destructive. It was just as empty as it was in my childhood. I continued to increase my drug use. I forged checks. I stole from department stores. I lied. I cheated. I had many sexual partners. There were so many destructive behaviors that I totally blocked it out, not knowing that I was trying to hide the abortion and the loss that was already a true life in me that I had given up already in that abortion room. In 1989, I got married, and my husband and I had a pregnancy in 1990, and that ended in miscarriage. In 1991, I had a full-term pregnancy, and that child today will be 16 years old. Praise God. Anyway, in 1994, we divorced. I thought I was free, but the destruction continued to happen. My freedom was basically a death covenant. I didn't realize that I had left myself back there on that table and that child meant so much to me. I continued to escalate in drugs, methamphetamines, anything that anybody could give me, love from a man. That drug addiction lasted until 1997. I asked the Lord, after coming to a total end of my drug addiction, Lord, please come into my life. I need some kind of healing. And I didn't relate the chaos and the psychotic behavior to the loss of my child and to the choice of death. But today I realize it wasn't just the drugs. Satan had me believe it was just the drugs, but it wasn't. It was the loss of that life that could have been my friend, could have been my child walking through me, could have been that result of me giving up the drugs and turning away from those drugs back in the early or late 80s and early 90s. So in 1997, Jesus did come into my life, and he straightened up what a mess I had made. For 30 years, I was just totally gone in the world. Well, I am here to tell you, ladies, that life is so much more important, that Jesus is real, that he does love us, and that he has so much love for each one of us, such a vision. Don't allow your emptiness and your past to cause you to make an urgent decision. That decision needs to be reliable, and it needs to be talked about with a pastor, with a friend, with someone you trust. Please allow the choice that you are trying to make on your own to be made in prayer and to be made in fellowship with someone that has made that choice before, so that you can choose something that you will never regret. You will have a life that is so much better with a child that you can live with forever. In eternity, you can know that child in memories and walk with Jesus Christ.
You've just heard Stacy's story in her own words, and the pain and the trauma of abortion, years and years of pain that Stacy went through, where she literally felt that she never left that table. We want to encourage you today, if you're still suffering from the pain of abortion and you need somebody to talk to, reach out today and call the National Helpline for Abortion Recovery at 1-866-482-LIFE. There is someone that you can talk to confidentially that wants to hear your story, that has also experienced the pain of abortion, but the hope that there is in Jesus Christ. And I know, Alan, we were hearing Stacy's story, and we hear that so often from women who have experienced abortion.
That's right. I was struck by how she said it was so pleasant and inviting at the Planned Parenthood facility, and she didn't realize she was making a decision for death. And instead, she literally left her soul on that table. And now I'm very happy that one of the states of the United States, South Dakota, has passed a law which has been upheld by the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals that says Planned Parenthood must tell a woman that abortion is the taking of a life of a human being. And it was really because of the testimonies of women that we have collected through Operation Outcry that the court said abortion does cause severe depression and loss of esteem.
Well, and Alan, it is the same 2 pages of our brief. The 2 pages in the Supreme Court opinion were the 2 pages that the 8th Circuit quoted from the Supreme Court opinion when they upheld that law.
That's right.
I mean, it is a direct result of the testimonies of post-abortive women that the Supreme Court put that language in their opinion, and the 8th Circuit made the decision that they made.
And as a result, the Planned Parenthood facility shut down